afternoon, neighbors. I did not expect to see so many of you. But I'm sure Miss West will have some refreshment prepared in a bit. Now, if you're all very comfortably positioned, I suppose we ought to get started.
I thought we was just going to attend to business.
Well, it's perfectly reasonable that these folks would want to view the proceedings. It is their town, after all.
Yes.
How can you be so certain we won't be invaded? You saw what those British troops did a year ago December. They burned Buffalo to the ground.
Mr. Dunbar, I'm not sure, but we're keeping watch. Things will be fine.
That's easy for you to say, Mr. Culver. You're inland. My property lies right at the foot of Irondequoit Bay, a straight line for those British ships.
I know you've got quite a prosperous business there.
Did you see all the refugees coming in from Buffalo? They were so numerous, they had to leave so quickly that some children were separated from their families. We should not be taking time for all this political stuff. We should be discussing ways to move our families south.
Asa has a very good point. There is a war going on, practically at our doorstep.
This is a very dangerous time. We should be working out ways to keep our families safe. Do you know what it's like to lose a beloved family member?
Oh!
I'm sorry, Orange. I wasn't thinking about Elizabeth.
That's quite all right, Asa. I share your concerns. I have 8 motherless children to keep safe. At the first sign of trouble, I will be moving them south.
Mr. Dunbar, Orange, that's just it. At the first sign of trouble. Our Committee of Safety, myself, Mr. Scranton, Mr. Latta, and others, we will make certain that the shorelines are patrolled. And we'll also make sure that no rumors get started. Bad enough if we have to leave because the British do come ashore. Don't want to lose everything that we've worked for because someone starts a panic over nothing. Now, shall we get down to business, as New York State requires?
Very well, then.
I call this meeting to order. First thing, we gotta have a town clerk to record this for the state and for our citizens.
I nominate Nehemiah Hopkins. Nehemiah, will you serve?
You know perfectly well I will. Yes. Well, I've got most of this all planned out, laid out already. Now just make sure we get today's date up here on the paper. April 5th, in the year of our Lord, 1814. Yes.
Very good. Now, any property-owning gentleman may participate in the following vote. Nehemiah Hopkins for town clerk. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Very well.
Congratulations, Nehemiah.
Well, he does have excellent penmanship, but he's not always so skillful with his spelling.
Spelling is vastly overrated. Oh, moving right along. Moving along.
Well, we have to make your appointment official. Got to make Oliver official as well.
Oliver Culver, having been elected, do you accept the charge as supervisor for the town of Brighton?
Thank you, Mr. Dunbar. I do accept, and will serve to the town of Brighton to the best of my ability.
Hear, hear.
Thank you. Now, we should move on to appointing officers to the town of Brighton. Shall we begin with town assessors?
Oh, yes. I have a letter here from Solomon Gould for about assessor, yes. I thought that Ezekiel Morse was interested and willing, but I don't have anything from him. He was supposed to have sent something along, but...
A note, perhaps.
Oh! Well, what are you waiting for, sir? Mr. Hopkins, yes. Oh, thank you. Yes. Ezekiel Morse, yes. Oh, and Mr. Stone as well?
I accept.
Yeah, good.
Very well. Solomon Gould, Ezekiel Morse, and Orange Stone for town assessors. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Very well, Mr. Hopkins, what's next?
Next, we know pretty much who the people are that are willing to serve, and the positions are very much the same as they were when we were part of the town of Smallwood, and before that the town of Boyle, and before that Northfield.
Yes.
But I don't have letters from all these people yet. I move that we table the election of officers until we see if any more letters come in. And then we can get straight down to the important business.
What important business is that, Mr. Hopkins?
Obviously, better laws controlling what people do.
Are you referring to the incident involving the ram, Mr. Hopkins?
Yes, sir, I am. Why, that young scamp had no business releasing his ram out in public during mating season. You know, that ram got into my sheep, and I did not get it all the results from my ewes that I expected.
I really think we need to elect the officers officially. And you know that the law will be just the same as it is now.
Yes, I know. All rams, etc., to be confined from the first day of September to November 10. And upon neglect, the owner to pay the complainant sum of $5. Well, I'll tell you, that law didn't do me any good. Why, that young scamp moved west here to start up a new farm before I could collect any money at all.
Who do you have down for constable?
Enos Blossom is taking that responsibility on.
Well, that solves your problem, Mr. Hopkins. It's not so much about making new laws, but enforcing the ones that you've already got.
We'll get to the livestock laws soon enough. Confining the rams, confining the stud horses.
Allowing the hogs to run free.
Keeping cattle away from taverns?
For now, we need to officially elect these officers. What's next?
Next, overseer of the highways, overseer of the poor. What is this? Having a meeting here.
Oh, pardon me. I thought you might have concluded your meeting by now.
Is there something I can do for you, Mr. West?
Well, I bring greetings from my father, Daniel West, and I thought I might accompany my sister home.
I see.
Speaking of rams. Oh.
I believe your sister has not yet completed her preparations. I very much appreciate her assistance with the foodstuffs and the children. My daughter Olive is skilled in the kitchen, but today is more than she could handle.
Mr. Stone, Mr. Culver insists that we follow the procedure exactly, and I would like to get back to my farm while it's still daylight, so if I may respectfully request that we move on with the business. We have to appoint overseer of the highways, overseers of the poor, the constable, school commissioners, school inspectors, the fence viewers.
We're going to need more drink.
We certainly are.
Ladies and gentlemen, it appears these proceedings are going to take longer than expected. Why don't you step into the kitchen and see if Miss West has any refreshments prepared while we continue? Oh, not so fast, young man. My daughter is only 15. No need for her to have a gentleman call her just yet.
Of course, Mr. Stone.
Right this way, everyone.
Mr. West. Mr. West. Join me in a tankard.
Would someone mind giving this to my sister, Sally West? I greatly appreciate it.
Wasn't expecting Mr. Stone to send you all in here. Please, welcome. Perhaps you can all help me out with my dilemma. My name is Sally West. I've come in to help the Stone family today, but I'm afraid it's going to be a bit more difficult than I thought. You see, there's all those hungry men in there and the family in here, and I've got to provide refreshment for all of them. In April? Well, we're not exactly out of the little famine time of year, are we? Oh, you're city folk. Or maybe you're just travelers who stop at Mr. Stone's Tavern. Well, it's not really a famine. It's just that this time of year we're running mighty low on preserved foodstuffs, and of course there's not much coming up in the garden yet.
We're so tired of cornmeal and dried meat.
Yes, just imagine when those greens start poking through the ground and we can add that flavor to our meals.
And when our cow has her calf, we can get milk for butter and cheese.
So, I was hoping I might barter with one of you ladies for some dried apples or preserved beef that you might have around. I've got some nice skeins of wool back at home. Anyone?
Miss West, is that a note from your brother?
He's not involved in the town proceedings, and he doesn't own property yet, so he's not eligible to vote yet. Yes, it's from Orson. I know, she is young, but I also know my brother. He's willing to wait. And anyway, I think there's just too much fuss about folks of different ages getting married. So, no one with extra foodstuffs to spare? Well, that's all right. I'll just make another batch of hoe cakes. We still have plenty of cornmeal to spare, and even if we don't have butter to put on them, they'll taste just as good with molasses. Besides, I don't think the men will be too particular after their refreshments in the tavern room. Olive, would you go check on your sisters in the parlor?
Yes, Miss West.
They miss their mother, so it's been just 5 months since they lost her. But I'm worried about them, especially little Theo. Just 6 months old. He's doing poorly. Just wish there was more I could do for them. Thank goodness Mr. Stone's eldest daughter took the 2 little boys to the Hibbards farm. Can't have 8 children running around here and that going on. Well, I best get back to work here. Perhaps you'd like to see the children, meet the children in the parlor. I am a bit concerned that it seems so quiet in there. Olive!
Yes, Miss West?
Olive, why don't you take our neighbors into the parlor and introduce them to your sisters?
I sent them out to play in the barn.
Perhaps you'd all like to see the parlor anyway. Olive, please show our neighbors in.
Yes, Miss West. Please, come in. Watch the step. I'm sorry I sent my sisters out. I didn't realize that you might want to see them. But Harriet, she's the youngest girl. She's only 5 years old. She heard that we were going to live in a new town, and she thought that meant we were going to move. I explained that no, the town is going to be right where we are now, but she was so upset I thought she might disturb the meeting. So I asked Milana and Elizabeth to take her out to play in the barn. Did you see Mr. West when you came in? I don't know why my father gets so upset when he visits. Orson is very much like my father. He moved here from Massachusetts to give his family a better life. Have any of you ever moved to make things better for your family? Orson and I want to do the same thing, but my father doesn't need to worry. I'm not going anywhere for a long time. Do you know if Orson is in the tavern room? Yes. I wonder if they can hear us from in here. Well, today is Brighton's birthday, April 5th, 1814. I've lived here my entire life, and I'm proud of our town, whether it's called Smallwood or Brighton. Let's give a cheer for the town. Huzzah on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Huzzah! Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for visiting today. If you wouldn't mind stepping out into the hall while I get some tasks ready for my sisters.